Hi everyone, a very good morning to all of you. Today is 13th of April and let's start with the Hindu newspaper analysis. I welcome you all in this session. Guys, in this session, we are going to discuss all the relevant articles in Hindu newspaper that will make sense for UPSC CSE examination. And also I would like to tell you that you can download these synoptic notes from our Telegram channel. Link is given in description box in YouTube. Fine. So let's get started with the session today. Every class we start with a GS quotation that you can use in your essay papers or in your GS paper. Today we are going to take the quotation from Kim Stanley Robinson. So Kim Stanley says, "It's the love of right that lures men to wrong." Fine. A very impactful quotation. It is the love of right that lures men to wrong. What is the love of right? So there are often ideological confrontations. There are the ideological confrontation. And we think that our ideology is the one which should exist. Our ideology is the one that is right. Okay. For example, you believe in capitalism, I believe in socialism. You have absolute affirmation that your ideology is right, I have that I am right. What it will lead to? It will lead to the wrong. Fine, it will lead to wars, it will lead to confrontation, it will lead to violence. So absolute self assertion that I am the only who is the right, it often will lead men to a lot of unethical and wrong things. In this capacity, Jainas have given the theory of anekantvad, which is about the many sidedness of reality. Anekantvad accepts many versions of truth. Okay, and these kind of thinkings, this accommodative thinking is right now needed. Now you can use this particular idea in GS paper number 4, ethics, integrity and aptitude. Fine. So that is about it. And now let's get started. Guys, one thing I just want to tell you before we move in this particular session is that today is a Saturday. Okay, today is a Saturday. On Saturday, text and context page is not published. Science page also, which is published towards the last, it is not published. In editorial, there is that one page which actually covers the ground zero report, which most of the time is talking about some crime, etc. Okay, that is there. But however, today there is the political article that has come. So because of all these particular things, and then the more focus on lifestyle and such related pages, usually on Saturdays we don't have much of the article. However, today's newspaper, it contains so many pages which are solely exclusively devoted to election coverage. Election coverage. Okay, so that is not needed for your examination. Okay, so few relevant articles we have here, which we have selected to ensure that you are not overburdened with unnecessary kind of news. Okay, so here we have this article. Now, this article we are going to see with respect to science and technology. Science and technology, both GS paper number 3 as well as with respect to your prelims examination. So what has happened? IIT research, IISc, fine, Indian Institute of Science, their researchers have found a novel hydrogel which can remove the microplastics from water. Which can remove the microplastics from water. Now, basically, guys, understand this particular thing. Before going on this article, let's take some basic understanding. Let's take some basic understanding. Fine. So basically, guys, when we talk about the plastic, okay, we have durable plastic goods. We have durable plastic goods. Okay, in durable plastic goods, there are many things which are made up of plastic. For example, many electronic appliances are made up of plastics, such kind of a thing. Then there are single-use plastics. There are single-use plastics. Okay, for example, there is a wrapper on a cigarette packet, which is a single-use kind of a plastic. Then there are uh, single-use plastics, or even the straw, for example, that you often use, they are in the category of the single-use plastics. Then there are polyvinyl. There are polyvinyl. Okay, these are the plastic bags, but they are more sturdy, can be used multiple number of times. Okay, now guys, understand this thing that all of these particular plastics, towards the end of their life, what will happen? They will undergo a process of fragmentation. They'll undergo a process of fragmentation. In that fragmentation, what will happen, these particular plastics, they will disintegrate in very small tiny beads of plastic, tiny pieces of plastics. And these very small pieces of plastics, what they can do, they can enter food chain, they can enter food chain. They are consumed by aquatic animals, and they're aquatic creatures, sorry, they are created by they are eaten, consumed by aquatic creatures such as fishes. And when you will eat that fishes through biomagnification, this microplastic will enter in your body. And it has been found that these microplastics are now even found in the blood streams of humans. So these microplastics is one of the biggest threat of plastic pollution. And water bodies, they have a lot of microplastics. Now, basically, if there is a durable plastic good that is there, if a single use plastic is there, or any such kind of a plastic product, if it is dumped in the water, you can take it out, you can clean the water body. But cleaning the water body of these microplastics is something which is very much difficult. So, in this capacity, what has happened, IISc researchers, they have come out with a way to remove these microplastics that are there in the water. Now, what they have done, so let's understand this particular thing, guys. They have created a 3D hydrogel. Fine. So this is a kind of a cube, 3D hydrogel. Now, what is this particular hydrogel? So hydrogel, when we talk about the hydrogel, it is made up of two words, hydro, and the second is gel. It, in very simple words, it is a special type of a gel, special type of a material which is mostly made up of water, which is mostly made up of water. Now see, there are hydrogels are of different types. There are certain hydrogels which are used in 4D printing. 4D printing. Now you might have heard about the 3D printing, where what we can do, by a digital drawing, we can make a 3D, we can make any 3D object. 4D printing is one where by a digital drawing you can make a three-dimensional figure, but the basically the object that you have made, it can change according to climatic condition, it can expand, it can shrink, okay, it can take shapes. Okay, so basically, guys, understand this thing, that hydrogel, it is a special type of an ink that is also used in the 4D printing. So there are many different type of hydrogels which will have different industrial purposes. IISc has made a different type of a hydrogel material. A hydrogel means that its major constituent will be of water. Now what they have done, they have made a hydrogel to remove microplastics. These are tiny fragments of plastic from the water. Already we have discussed that how they pose a threat to our health, how they can enter our body through the water, through the fishes, etc., that we are eating. So basically, this IISc's hydrogel, what they have now, if you see, basically they have an intertwined, a very complex polymer structure within this. Fine, they have a very complex polymer structure in this. What they can do, suppose microplastic comes in contact with that microplastic will get trapped in this. That microplastic will get trapped in it. Okay, so this is the step number one. This is step number one. What will happen? The microplastic, it will be absorbed, or microplastic will be trapped in this particular hydrogel. Then secondly, what will basically these cubes be doing? Through the photocatalytic degradation. Through the photocatalytic degradation. Now photocatalytic degradation happens through the ultraviolet rays. It happens through the UV, ultraviolet light. Through that, basically these microplastics, they will get degraded. Okay, so basically it can be a sustainable process. How it can be a sustainable process? This hydrogel, it is trapping microplastics. Fine. So this hydrogel, it is trapping microplastics, and these microplastics are getting degraded through the UV rays. Then again, it is trapping microplastics, they are getting degraded by the UV rays. Now what is the type of a reaction that will take place? This is very important. In prelims examination, it can be asked. So it will be the photocatalytic degradation. Photocatalytic degradation. Now when we talk about microplastics, their size is less than 5 micrometer. Okay, so this is about the hydrogel that they have come out with. So they can degrade microplastics by using the ultraviolet light. Now also, guys, in the past there have been certain efforts to remove the microplastics. For example, what has been done? Filtering membranes have been used. For example, this is a giant sieve. This is a giant sieve. Now, what a sieve is? So in your homes, fine, you use this particular kind of a fine. So we have flour. Okay. So we use this sieve, okay, which have very tiny holes. Fine. So there is what they have done. They have used a kind of a membrane. Now this particular membrane will have very small holes. Water will pass, but microplastics will get trapped here. Microplastics will get trapped here. But the problem is that after some time it will be clogged. After some time it will be clogged by these microplastics. So it has to be changed frequently, and its efficiency also declines over a period of time. So therefore, these particular filtering membranes to remove the plastic are not that much efficient. They are not very much efficient. They are unsustainable. They get clogged. Fine. So therefore, now this hydrogel has been developed. Now, basically, this hydrogel, I told you that different hydrogels will have different purposes. Now, this type of hydrogel that they are using, they are made up of chitosan, polyvinyl alcohol, polyaniline, polyaniline. Okay, so these are the three which have been connected together. Right. So this is about it. I hope that you understood it. Now moving to next article. Data for better education, a brighter future for students. Now, this article will see with respect to GS paper number 2, issues related to education, social justice. Issues related to education, social justice. Fine. Now, guys, before going in this article, let me tell you some basic background information that will help you. So, there is this NGO by the name of Pratham. Okay, Pratham NGO. Now, this Pratham NGO, what it releases from time to time, matlab almost every year, fine, since 2005, they are releasing a report which is called as ASAR, annual status of education report. Okay, during COVID it was not released, but then almost every year it is released. This annual status of education report, what it tracks? It tracks learning gaps. Learning gaps. Now, what does this? Okay, guys, I hope that fine. Some issue came. So yes, I was telling you that what is happening. There is a child that and he is going to school every day. He's going to school every day, but still his foundational literacy skills are not up to the mark. Now, what is this foundational literacy skills? Find his ability to recognize basic alphabets, his ability to recognize basic alphabets, to understand the basic text, to he or she should be able to do the basic arithmetic operations, So all this basically your ability to read the basic text, to do basic arithmetic operations, to recognize numbers, this comes in the foundational and literacy skills. Now it tracks that how many of the students they have these good foundational literacy skills. If they are not there, it means that there is a learning gap. If they are not there, it means that there is a learning gap. So on this learning gap, ASAR, Annual Status of Education Report, is one of the most prestigious publication that is released. Now, recently what happened, ASAR 2023 report was released. ASAR 2023 report was released. Now, every year they will focus on a specific group of children. Now, this year they focused on children in the age group of 14 to 18 years. Okay, 14 to 18 years. And this particular report, what it did, it has carried the studies, okay, in 28 rural districts, 26 states of the country. They have carried this particular study and found that out of the students that were analyzed, 26%, out of the students that were analyzed, 26% in this age group of 14 to 18, they cannot read a standard 2 level text. Okay, they cannot read a standard 2 level text in their regional language. This is a huge learning gap that is there. Fine. You see, we are always referred that India is going through the golden window of demographic dividend. Golden window of demographic dividend. Fine, we have a lot of young population. Fine, average age of India is 28 years. This young population will participate in economically productive activity, which will be beneficial for India. But how that will happen if the basic literacy numeracy skills are not there? Now it has been said that actually this should not actually surprise us. Why it should not surprise us? Because you see that a child who is 18-year-old now, that is in 2023, so a child who is 18-year-old in 2023 was actually 13-year-old in 2018, not a rocket science. So he was 13-year-old in 2018. Maybe at that point of a time he was in 7th or 8th standard, 7th or 8th standard. Now even in 2018, 32%. Now in 2018 also this survey was done, and in 2018 survey it was found that 32% of the class 7 students and 27% of the class 8 children, they cannot read a standard 2 level text. They cannot read a standard 2 level text. So basically if you see these children in 2018, now in 2023 they are 14 to 18-year-old. So basically they are the same children who were not able to read the text then. They are not able to read the text now. The point is that we should not be surprised. See, if we would have done some intervention here in 2018, today 2023 situation would have been changed. If we would have done intervention before that, then situation in 2018 would have been different. Now, annual status of education report, it does not capture the school attendance data, but for that we have the NSSO data, National Sample Survey Office. In its 75th round of survey 2017-18, they have recorded the attendance in the secondary classes. Now what are the secondary classes? Class 9 and class 10, it is the secondary. Class 1 to class 8 is primary, 9 10 is secondary, and 11 12 are senior secondary. So they found this particular thing that actually in rural India attendance is as low as 60%. Just 60% is the attendance there. Now understand this thing that there is a possibility. Now you see this particular thing that 26% of the students are not able to read the basic text. They might be the students who are not going to school. There might be the student who are enrolled in school but may not be attending the school. So what is needed? We need to ensure that in the school such ecosystem is to be created that students are regularly attending. Teachers pedagogy should be such that teachers are imparting impactful lessons to the student. Now these students who are actually not performing good, they need guidance, they need practice sessions, they need encouragement by the parents, by the family, that okay, you should read. They should be motivated. But often what we find that rather the opposite happens. Fine, they have to face ridicule, they have to face embarrassment, and because of that they altogether lose interest in studies. They'll stop attending the school, they'll lose the interest. This is something that actually happens. Fine, and this might be happening in the case of India also. Also, the other important thing is that it has been seen that, see, one's interest in reading, one's interest in education, it improves if there are the reading materials at home. So one's reading habits, one's reading abilities are influenced if at home you have the reading material, if you have the reading text. And guys, on a personal note, I will ask you also, because many of you are now, I suppose that most of you are 21 years plus. In your home also, ensure that you have a small library. Okay, it nudges a lot of good behaviors. Fine. But many poor households, they don't have any reading material. So what can be done? Community libraries can be created, which can create rich, vibrant space, which will foster reading, creativity, critical thinking, learning. This is something. But not just setting the library is the solution. These libraries need to be functional. Okay, this is something. Then one other aspect comes of this ASAR report. Now this ASAR report also asks the children about their career aspiration, whether they want to go for higher education or not. Now in this capacity, it has been seen that 60% of the children, they want to obtain a college degree, college education. Number of girls who are aspiring for a college education is more than the boys. Girls, 65% of them, they want to get a college education, but boys, this number is just 59%. So girls are more willing to go for higher education. Now also it has been provided, see, when asked the girls that what they want to be, Fine, many of them, they said that they want to be a primary school teacher or a doctor. In boys, this aspiration is to join the defense forces or to join the police forces. So if you see guys, basically boys, defense and police forces, girls, primary school teacher and doctor. So here we see that basically a genderization of occupations have also happened. Anyhow, now understand this thing guys, that suppose I want to be an IAS officer. Suppose I want to be an IAS officer. I know somebody who is already an IAS officer in my family or in my relatives or something like this. It becomes far more easy for me to take a guidance and the chances of success increases. However, if you don't know any IAS and you want to be an IAS, you need to spend a lot of effort in understanding the basic things which other person might not be able to, might not have to spend because he simply knows. So in your family, in your relatives, in your neighborhood, if somebody is there in the profession which you are trying to pursue, it makes the things a lot easy. However, it was found that half of the children who were surveyed in the age group of 14 to 18, fine, who have aspirations to work, they don't know anyone else working that particular profession. So guidance is not there. Counseling was also not there. Now, when we talk about guys the vocational education, now you know that the skill-based education, vocations, they have become so important. Now there are two case studies that we have at here, and please do note down these case studies in your notes. So one case study is from Uttar Pradesh, Sitapur, fine, Dhamtari. Sorry, Sitapur is Uttar Pradesh and Dhamtari is in Chhattisgarh. So we have these two case studies. Now, when the asked questions was asked with respect to vocational education, much negative perception was there in the children. For example, there used to be a polytechnic course. Fine, now there is actually not used to be. There is a polytechnic course. When I was in class standard, okay, or when I was in class 9th, after class 10th you can go for that polytechnic course, or 11th 12th you can do, and then you go for btech. Now the children who used to opt for this polytechnic course after the 10th standard, they were seemed that okay, they are not academically good, this is the reason that they are doing it. So there have been the negative perceptions, and this negative perception is there towards the vocational education, towards the ITI course, towards the polytechnic course. There is this kind of a negative perception that is there, that the ones who are not able to take the academic route, when they are not able to do the when they are not able to when they are not confident they'll get the white collar jobs, they go for these kind of courses. But in Himachal Pradesh, Solan, there was a different perspective that prevailed. In Himachal Pradesh, Solan, different perspective prevailed. What has happened in Himachal Pradesh? Courses in tourism, hotel management have been introduced in school in the 9th standard. In the 9th standard, not exactly the courses, but basically the early learning has been given. And because of that, the children in Himachal Pradesh, Solan, their attitudes towards doing a diploma in hotel management, doing a diploma in tourism, there they have a positive viewpoint. They have a positive viewpoint. So therefore, introducing the vocations at early age also helps. Early age also helps. Then lastly, we see this thing that a lot of students, they use smartphones, but they are using it largely for social media or to play PUBG game. Fine. Now understand this thing, that a person will use a mobile phone, and will use it for whatever they find interesting, okay. So what is important, it is important that edtech companies, they should come together and they should provide education in such a way that it can hook students, it can keep the students engaged. Fine. So that is all about it. Next article we have here, blurry lines between wildlife capture and wildlife rescue. This article we are going to see with respect to GS paper number 3, issues related to wildlife and conservation. Okay. Now this particular article guys, it is actually talking about the difference between rescue and the difference between rescue and capture. Now, basically, it has been said that this rescue and capture technology is being used in a wrong way when it comes to wildlife. Now, see what rescue is. Rescue is simply saving some animal or a person who was in danger or a difficulty. Okay. So, what is the rescue of wildlife? It means that there is some animal, let's say a leopard. Leopard is in distress. You will rescue this leopard and will ensure the survivability of this leopard. Many number of a times, guys, many number of a times we see this particular thing, that the leopards, they are trapped in well. Elephants, they get stranded in irrigation tanks. Sometimes snakes, they get trapped in homes. Okay, sometimes elephant calves are separated from their herds. So there, in this situation, these animals are in stress. These animals are to be rescued and they are needed to be released back in their habitat. This is what is properly rescue means. Okay, but sometimes, guys, there is also another different type of a scenario. What happens? Animals, they get caught in conflict with the humans. For example, elephant is destroying some fields. Okay, or let's say a leopard is, let's say there is a leopard that has entered the village, and there the leopard is killing people. Okay, so in these cases they'll be captured. How they'll be captured? Fine, through chemical physical immobilization. Okay, tranquilizers. Fine, through tranquilizers they will be immobilized. Okay, so through certain chemicals, through physical, means that there will be a trap that will be laid, they'll be captured in that trap. Okay, this is something that will be there. So there is a capture and there is a rescue. Now understand this thing, that what has happened in India, we are not following this particular classification clearly. Now basically, it has been seen that guidelines have been issued by the central government for the management of human leopard conflict. Okay, now what has happened, it specifically discourages the capture of leopards on mere sight. Now you see this thing, simply you have seen that, okay, a leopard has come near the village, it will lead to a panic, and that particular leopard, what will be done, that leopard will be captured. Leopard has not done any harm, leopard has not got involved in any man animal conflict, but that leopard will be captured. So it has been said that simply by witnessing, simply by watching a leopard, if you have seen that has come near the habitation, they are not need not to be captured. It has been said, it has been seen that recently there was one case also. What happened? An elephant was captured from a coffee plantation, which was called that, okay, it is a rescue. He was in, that elephant was in stress. That elephant was radio collared and was released 200 kilometers away. Okay, now this 200 kilometers away, this landscape, this region is unknown to elephant. Elephant was in stress. Eventually, that elephant got killed also. Sorry, even elephant got died also. So point is that often what is happening, we are simply capturing elephants even when they are not a threat. We capture them and we release them far away. What it leads to? It leads to a lot of problem. Now understand this thing, when this is happening, you are actually impacting the two ecosystems. Fine, if one ecosystem is from where that animal is rescued, and the other ecosystem where you're introducing, that is also getting impacted. So basically we need to understand that the capture, removal, rescue, fine, it is to be done properly. It is to be done properly. Fine, it is to be done properly. So this is something that is there. Now, when we talk about snakes, in the cases of the snakes, the problem is the situation is even more adverse. Now, see, snakes are those animals which whose interactions with the humans are the highest, Okay, and because of that, these snakes are poorly handled. There is the unnecessary removal from the habitats. Just simply, let's say that the snake was going, okay, not creating any, is not bothering the humans, but still they will be taken, will be relocated in some kind of another habitat. Okay, so therefore these rescues and captures, they needed it to be done with a lot of care. Fine, now here we have the example of Karnataka. Fine, okay, so here we have a case study of Karnataka. So now in Karnataka we see that the Karnataka Forest Department, they have come out with the warning systems, regular monitoring, fencing, fine, so that the wild animal and humans, they don't come in contact, better lighting, public education, improved waste management. Now see this waste management, how it will avoid the animal man conflict. See, many number of times, because the edible items, they are dumped, fine, dumped in open, they will attract many wild animals. They will come to eat them, and then the human animal contract interaction will happen. Okay, so because of these, the Karnataka, what they are doing, they are going for a proper management of animals and humans. So this is something that can be followed. Okay, so that is all, guys, about it. And now moving to next article, risky premise. Now this particular article we are going to see with respect to GS paper number 3. GS paper number 3, issues related to Indian economy. Tier 3 issues related to Indian economy. Now, so guys, if you have followed yesterday also, I think we have seen this article that Asian Development Bank, fine, which is a multilateral lender, lends money for the developmental project, infrastructure projects. So Asian Development Bank recently they have released the forecast with respect to the India's GDP. Okay, and they say that in the current fiscal year, India's growth rate will be at 7%. And they have also projected that India's economy would expand to 7.2%. The growth rate will be 7.2% in the fiscal year 25-26. Okay, which seems to be good, But one thing that we need to take care here is that 7% to 25-26, 7.2% growth rate will be there. But this growth rate, it is less than growth rate that was predicted by NSO, National Statistical Office. It estimated that for the 12-month period, that is the 1st April to 31st March 2024, growth rate will be 7.6%. But Asian Development Bank says it is 7%. So there is a divergence of 0.6 percentage. There is a divergence of 0.6 percentage. Also, Asian Development Bank had said that actually these growth forecasts might also get impacted because of the global risks, global challenges that are there. There can be because of the sharp rise in the oil prices. Now you see around Red Sea, West Asia, there are a lot many crises that are going on. They can push up the oil prices. Higher interest rate in the West, particularly the US, to tackle inflation. Now there is a possibility that US Federal Reserve will increase the interest rates. As they will increase the interest rate, what might happen? Basically, the foreign portfolio investments that come in India, okay, they might get discouraged. Moreover, when interest rates get hiked in the US, it has an impact on the rupee valuation also. Okay, so these things might impact the growth rate of India. Also, it has been seen that basically center government, they have increased their capital expenditure. For example, 100 lakh crore rupees are being invested on infrastructure under Gati Shakti initiative. Under Gati Shakti initiative, we have increased the capital expenditures. Budgetary allocations for capital assets have been increased. This is good. This is good. But at the same time, there are certain concerns also. What are the concerns? Concern is that project completions are not happening. Projects are getting started, but they are not getting completed. Particularly private sector is not coming out with the infrastructure or the capital projects. This is something. Also, Asian Development Bank did not made any mention of absence of structural reforms in India. Okay, now understand this thing post COVID pandemic. In order to bring back economy on tracks, we need to come out with the structural reforms in manufacturing sector, in agriculture sector, in service sector, but they have not been discussed. Now, also the Asian Development Bank, it has also assumed that consumer spending will come back to the normal track. Fine, rebound of consumer spending will happen in 24-25. Now see, consumer spending is very important in an economy. Consumers, if they will increase the spending, aggregate demand will go up. If aggregate demand is there, what happens? Supply has also to come to match the demand. If demand will go up, more supply will automatically come. More supply means more people will be employed to make the goods and services that are needed by the people. More employment means that these people also get the money. They will then also spend. Again, the aggregate demand will increase. Again, more supply will come. So a virtuous cycle begins if the consumer spending increases. And ADB has assumed that the consumer spending will increase, will rebound in 24-25. This is there. But actually multiple agencies, a research firm BMI, uh, Motilal Oswal research also we have seen, they have said that actually the household savings are at the lowest. Now household savings right now are at around 5%. Okay, now see, when the household savings are less, will the households be spending or will they be saving? This is a thing that we have to see. Also, in the West Asia, the challenges that are there, Israel-Hamas war that is going on, fine. Shipping is disturbed in the Red Sea because of the Houthi rebels. Because of Houthi rebels. Now, these Houthi rebels, they are attacking the ships in the Red Sea, particularly the ships which are coming from Israel or are going towards the Israel, because they have a solidarity for the peoples in Gaza Strip. So this is also going to impact the supply chain. So how it will impact India's export performance, that is also to be seen. So this is guys all about this that have to be taken care of and have to be kept in mind. So this is guys about this, and with this we come to an end to the today's session. I hope guys that you have understood it and you have liked it. Now guys, we'll be meeting on Monday. Till then, please take care of yourselves. Okay, and Sunday please do revise. Fine, fine. Okay guys, thank you then. Take care.